Welcome to the Global Events Podcast. We're your host, David Brooks and Sasha Reeds.
Hello, everyone.
Today, we're turning our attention to some really significant news that's echoed across the globe.
Yeah, the passing of a true icon. Someone whose impact, honestly, stretched way beyond just the wrestling ring.
Exactly. We're talking about the one, the only, Hulk Hogan.
So today we've gathered the latest information, the global reactions, trying to understand the full scope of his life.
His incredible career and also the truly complex legacy he leaves behind.
It's quite a story.
It really is. So the news broke on July 24th, 2025, and it really sent shockwaves. Terry Bollea, who the world knew as Hulk Hogan, passed away. He was 71.
Yeah, the reports say first responders were called to his home in Florida, cardiac arrest.
And he was pronounced dead at the hospital later that morning. It's just a moment that stunned, the world of sports entertainment.
Definitely. But also so many other areas he touched over the decades, right?
Absolutely.
And what's immediately striking is just the sheer scale of the reaction. It really underscores how significant Hogan was. I mean, unprecedented.
You think so? Unprecedented.
Oh, without question. He wasn't just a wrestler. He was the biggest professional wrestler, certainly of the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And his fame wasn't just in the arena. He achieved this huge crossover stardom. Very few, if any, have ever really matched that in sports entertainment.
That's a fair point. He brought wrestling into the mainstream.
Exactly. He was instrumental in pulling it from, a sort of niche regional thing into the huge global spectacle we know today.
He literally became an American pop culture fixture. That phrase almost doesn't capture it.
Right, a global phenomenon, and that's why this news has been met with such a profound and widespread outpouring of tributes from all walks of life.
His reach was just phenomenal. But before he was the Hulkster, this huge phenomenon, he was just Terry Bollea.
Yeah, born back in 1953, August 11th in Augusta, Georgia.
And then raised mostly in Tampa, Florida. His dad was a construction foreman, his mom a dance teacher.
When what often gets overlooked, I think, is his early life, the music.
Oh, right. I find that fascinating too. Before wrestling was even on the radar, he was a musician.
Played bass, guitar in several rock bands. He was apparently quite good.
Yeah, local Tampa Bay bands like Ruckus. He seriously thought about a music career before, the wrestling world called.
It just shows that showmanship was kind of baked in from the start, doesn't it? Even before he knew what to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that innate showmanship, that's really where the legend started to take shape, transforming Terry Bollea into Hulk Hogan.
It was a masterclass in creating a character.
Totally. The whole persona. You think of him, you immediately see the red and yellow, right? The rip-away shirts.
And you hear the music. Real American. Unforgettable.
He didn't just have fans. He created an army, the Hulkamaniacs, mostly kids.
He became the living symbol for the WWF as it was then. WWE now, of course.
That whole mix, the muscles, the charisma, the invincible American hero thing, it just captured the imagination of millions.
Especially kids, yeah. It cemented wrestling's place in pop culture.
It was built on strength, virtue, and that simple message. What was it?
Training, prayers, and vitamins.
That's the one. Classic.
And he didn't just symbolize the WWE, he gave us some of its most iconic, just show-stopping moments.
Absolutely. This is where his impact really solidified.
You have to talk about the body slam. Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3rd, 1987.
Oh, legendary. It wasn't just a match. It was like a cultural event.
Picture it. Over 93,000 fans crammed into the Pontiac Silverdome.
Screaming.
Holding their breath, probably. Andre, 7'4", this immovable object.
And Hogan, the ultimate underdog in that moment, somehow lifts him.
And slams him. The roar must have been unbelievable.
It wasn't just a win. It kept his title, sure, but it cemented him as the top guy and WrestleMania as the show.
It elevated wrestling from just sport to pure spectacle. A touchstone moment.
And connecting that spectacle to the bigger picture, that moment pushed him beyond sports into true pop culture icon territory.
Which naturally led to Hollywood, right?
Exactly. His significant foray into Hollywood. You got to start with Thunder Lips.
Rocky III, 1982. Against Stallone.
Yeah. That role introduced him to a massive mainstream audience. People who maybe never watched wrestling before.
Then he got the lead role, Rip Thomas in No Holds Barred.
1989. Almost tailor-made for his persona.
And he kept going with movies in the 90s, mostly family stuff. Suburban Commando.
Mr. Nanny. Did he really juggle chainsaws in that?
I think he did.
Yeah.
And Santa with Muscles. Can't forget that one.
Oh, wow. But even later in his wrestling career, he still drew huge crowds.
Absolutely. Proved his star power endured.
Yeah.
Facing guys like The Rock.
That icon versus icon match at WrestleMania X8, dream match territory.
And squaring off against The Undertaker, too. His presence was just magnetic, wasn't it? Ring or screen.
No doubt about it.
Now, we also have to acknowledge that his public life wasn't simple. It was massive, sure, but complex. There were controversies.
Yeah, it's essential to talk about the challenging parts, too. They're part of his story.
Like in 2015, he was kicked out of the WWE Hall of Fame.
Right. That was over the recording that surfaced where he used a racist slur. Very damaging.
Though he was reinstated 3 years later in 2018.
Still a major mark on his image. And then there was the testimony.
Against Vince McMahon. The 1994 steroid trial, that was huge news.
High-profile stuff. Hogan had immunity. McMahon eventually won the case, but...
But some people, in wrestling and fans too, saw his testimony as a betrayal. It created fractures.
It really does raise that question, doesn't it? How we handle these layered careers of famous people.
Yeah.
And Hogan's story, especially later, also had that notable political heel turn, to borrow a wrestling term.
Right, when the good guy turns bad. His politics shifted dramatically.
Yeah, he initially endorsed Barack Obama back in 2008, which was, quite a statement then.
I remember that. Surprising to some.
But then, a huge shift. He supported Donald Trump in 2016 and again in 2020.
And his appearance at the 2024 Republican National Convention. That got a lot of attention.
Described as a shirt-tearing, testosterone-dripping performance, he fully endorsed Trump, called him a real American hero.
He also made some pretty divisive public comments later on.
Yeah, taking aim at Kamala Harris in 2024, challenging her. And then there was that time in 2025 he got deafening boos at an appearance.
It highlights how polarizing he became politically for some people.
Absolutely. A complex shift from that universally loved hero image. His influence definitely spilled into politics.
And the moment the news of his passing hit, the tributes just started pouring in from everywhere.
Reflecting that deep connection people felt, even with all the complexities.
Vince McMahon, despite their, let's say, complicated history, called him the greatest WWE superstar of all time.
Also a global phenomenon and a trailblazer.
Strong words. Ric Flair, longtime friend and rival, said Hogan's friendship meant the world, and no one will ever compare. Very emotional.
Sylvester Stallone, his Rocky III co-star, remembered him as absolutely wonderful, saying his skill made the movie special.
Even President Donald Trump weighed in, calling him MAGA all the way, strong, tough, smart, but with the biggest heart.
And Trump mentioned his RNC speech specifically, calling it one of the highlights.
Wow.
And the breadth of tributes, it really speaks volumes. Not just the big names, but fellow wrestlers he inspired.
Like who?
Well, Glenn Kane, Jacob said he practiced Hogan impressions 1,000 times growing up. So many kids did that.
Totally.
Sting, another legend, called him the greatest of all, said he'd miss him profoundly.
The Undertaker acknowledged his immeasurable contributions, called him a true legend.
And Triple H, who's basically running WWE Creative now, called Hogan the archetype of a WWE superstar.
Iconic.
He said, there was no one like the Hulkster, and there very well may never be another.
That sums it up pretty well. And the fan reaction.
Yeah.
You saw John Cena's Instagram.
Just a photo tribute, right. Yeah, but within hours, nearly 2,000 comments, people sharing memories, condolences, how Hogan impacted their lives.
It just shows that emotional connection was real, globally, despite everything.
Yeah, his life, peaks and valleys, left a huge, indelible mark. He's survived by his third wife, Saya Daly, and his kids, Brooke and Nick.
So, as we reflect on Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, it's just abundantly clear. His impact on wrestling, on pop culture, indelible.
Truly. He was a force of nature, a showman, a marketer, an innovator, really.
Redefined an industry, created countless memories, inspired generations. His name isn't just history, it's foundational.
Absolutely. And his journey, with all the highs, the lows, the controversies, it does raise an important question for us, doesn't it?
Which is?
How do we navigate these really complex legacies, figures who shaped our collective memory, but also had very public challenges, very public transformations?
How do we hold all those different truths about one person?
Exactly. What does that mean for how we remember them?
That's a powerful thought to consider. Definitely something to chew on. Well, thank you for joining us for this special discussion today.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for listening. If you found this conversation insightful, please do like, comment, and subscribe to the Global Events podcasts. It helps us keep bringing you the stories that matter.